January 1999, rocket summer. 1 minute it was Ohio winter, with doors closed, windows locked, the panes blind with frost, icicles fringing every roof, children skiing on slopes, housewives lumbering like great black bears in their furs along the icy streets. And then a long wave of warmth crossed the small town, a flooding sea of hot air. It seemed as if someone had left a bakery door open. The heat pulsed among the cottages and bushes and children. The icicles dropped, shattering to melt. The doors flew open, the windows flew up, the children worked off their wool clothes. The housewives shed their bare disguises. The snow dissolved and showed last summer's ancient green lawns. Rocket summer. The words passed among the people in the open, airing houses. Rocket summer. The warm desert air changing the frost patterns on the windows, erasing the artwork. The skis and sleds suddenly useless. The snow, falling from the cold sky upon the town, turned into a hot rain before it touched the ground. Rocket summer. People leaned from their dripping porches and watched the reddening sky. The rocket lay on the launching field, blowing out pink clouds of fire and oven heat. The rocket stood in the cold winter morning, making summer with every breath of its mighty exhausts. The rocket made climates, and summer lay for a brief moment upon the land. They had a house of crystal pillars on the planet Mars by the edge of an empty sea. And every morning you could see Mrs. K eating the golden fruits that grew from the crystal walls, or cleaning the house with handfuls of magnetic dust which, taking all dirt with it, blew away on the hot wind. Afternoons when the fossil sea was warm and motionless, and the wine trees stood stiff in the yard, and the little distant Martian bone town was all enclosed, and no one drifted out their doors, you could see Mr. K himself in his room, reading from a metal book with raised hieroglyphs over which he brushed his hand as one might play a harp. And from the book, as his fingers stroked, a voice sang, a soft, ancient voice, which told tales of when the sea was red steam on the shore, and ancient men had carried clouds of metal insects and electric spiders into battle. Mr. and Mrs. K had lived by the Dead Sea for 20 years, and their ancestors had lived in the same house, which turned and followed the sun, flower-like, for 10 centuries. Mr. and Mrs. K were not old. They had the fair brownish skin of the true Martians, the yellow coin eyes, the soft musical voices. Once they had liked painting pictures with chemical fire, swimming in the canals in the seasons when the wine trees filled them with green liquors, and talking into dawn together by the blue phosphorus portraits in the speaking room. They were not happy now. This morning, Mrs. K stood between the pillars, listening to the desert sands heat, melt into yellow wax, and seemingly run on the horizon. Something was going to happen. She waited. She watched the blue sky of Mars as if it might at any moment grip in on itself, contract, and expel a shining miracle down upon the sand. Nothing happened. tired of waiting, she walked through the misting pillars. A gentle rain sprang from the fluted pillar tops, cooling the scorched air, falling gently on her. On hot days, it was like walking in a creek. The floors of the house glittered with cool streams. In the distance, she heard her husband playing his book steadily, his fingers never tired of the old songs. Quietly, she wished he might one day again spend as much time holding and touching her, like a little harp, as he did his incredible books. But no, she shook her head, an imperceptible forgiving shrug. Her eyelids closed softly down upon her golden eyes. Marriage made people old and familiar while still young.
She lay back in a chair that moved to take her shape even as she moved. She closed her eyes tightly and nervously. The dream occurred. Her brown fingers trembled, came up, grasped at air. A moment later, she sat up, startled, gasping. She glanced about swiftly, as if expecting someone there before her. She seemed disappointed. The space between the pillars was empty. Her husband appeared in a triangular door. "Did you call?" he asked, irritably. "No," she cried. "I thought I heard you cry out." "Did I? I was almost asleep. I had a dream." "In the daytime? You don't often do that." She sat as if struck in the face by the dream. "How strange. How very strange," she murmured. "The dream." "Earl!" He evidently wished to return to his book. "I dreamed about a man." "A man?" "A tall man. 6 feet, 1 inch tall." "How absurd! A giant! A misshapen giant!" Somehow, she tried the work. He looked all right, in spite of being tall, and he had, I know you'll think it's silly, but he had blue eyes. "Blue eyes? Gods!" cried Mr. K. "What'll you dream next? Suppose he had black hair, huh?" "How did you guess?" She was excited. "I picked the most unlikely color," he replied coldly.